What is up? What is up? What is up, folks? It is your main man, JD, here, broadcasting live. Getting ready to do a little bit of a watch party live stream for The Last of Us Season 2. Get hyped, folks. Get hyped, man. Get hyped, because I know I'm excited about this. I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us for Season 2 of this amazing show on HBO Max. And yeah, we getting started like an hour before, man. I'm risking it a little bit, hoping that we get a decent turnout and it makes it fun for this next hour before we actually get into the show. So yeah, if this is your first time checking us out, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so you can be a part of the family, man. But yeah, we are going to be doing The Last of Us Season 2 premiere tonight. What's good, Katie Joe? How's it going? Big shout out. Yes, I am excited too. 100% excited for this. I cannot wait to see how much of the second game they tie into this season of the show. So that's like my biggest thing. Like, I'm an avid player of the games. I've played both of them. And I know some of the crazy stuff that happens in that second game and some of the characters that are in that second game. I'm really, really, really hoping that they start laying the groundwork for those characters and also laying the groundwork for some of the crazy twists and turns that this season takes. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. If you are excited about it, let me know in the chat. Also, if you got any predictions, let me know about those in the chat. I would love to hear those. But yeah, the stream actually starts, or I should say the live stream of the episode starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time, or 8 p.m. Central time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So that's the time everything will be going. We will be watching it. You have to watch it on your own, but we will be talking about it and discussing it while it's going on right here on this stream. So you are in the right place if you would like to discuss the show. Give everybody another few minutes to trickle on in. Drop your comments, man. Let me know what you're excited about. Let me know what you thought of season 1 of The Last of Us. Can't wait to find out exactly what's going to happen in this season. But in the meantime, in between time, we're going to do some recaps of the first season. And then we're also going to watch the second trailer of the second season, because I haven't seen that either. So I have been holding out for all information regarding this season in this show. Like, I haven't watched any of the trailers, none of this stuff, because I already feel like I've been spoiled enough by playing the game. So I'm really excited to see what this trailer has to offer and give us a little bit of a preview of what we can expect for this season of The Last of Us. Man, thirsty, but yes. So we will get going in about another 2 minutes. But yeah, if you're watching right now, hit that like button, please. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Just a little background on some of the other shows that we're doing currently. We're doing recaps and reviews of Daredevil Born Again. We do live watch parties, and we will be doing a live watch party for the season finale of Daredevil Born Again season 1 this upcoming Tuesday. We will also be doing a live stream watch party for the second episode of The Handmaid's Tale season 6, the 6th and final season of that show. We will be doing a live stream watch party for that. We also have wall-to-wall coverage of The Pit, that is on HBO Max, an amazing medical drama that is honestly probably my favorite show of the year so far. And we have been doing recaps and reviews of those episodes as they come out. We just finished up with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We have reviews of that on the channel. So yeah, we got tons of stuff. We go way back to covering Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, the first season of Monsters. Like we did everything. We've done everything. Done previous seasons of The Handmaid's Tale, Agatha All Along. We've done movie recaps and reviews. We reviewed The Boys. Like, seriously, we've done a ton. So yeah, if you are into seeing reactions and being a part of a community, you are in the right place. So yeah, go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you so desire. It is free, and it is the best way to help out our channel as we grow and continue to go towards that 500 subscriber mark, and then also getting towards that 1,000 subscriber mark, so that we can get monetized and start seeing the pennies rolling in. Yeah, but yeah, so we are going to get going. I'm going to switch up my screen real quick. And yeah, like I was saying, we are going to jump into a recap of season 1 that was done by Screen Crush, and just use as a talking point or a jumping off point for the recap of season 1. So yeah, we'll get that started. All right, got all my screen straight. Okay. Desktop audio is on. Got my mic on. Okay. Let's get this going then. Just so you know, this is, of course, going to be full spoilers for the first season of The Last of Us.
The Last of Us is creeping up on us faster than a clicker bite to the neck. Now, the first season set an entirely new, higher standard for video game adaptations. But before we unload on another one, I want to recap everything that's happened so far. Now, I know that we're all excited for The Last of Us to return, but we should also take a moment to remember the fallen with these new memory present contact or even the air. However, the outbreak in The Last of Us isn't viral, but fungal. Specifically, the cordyceps fungus, which is a very real fungus found in tropical climates like South America and Australia. The fungus feeds on ants, harvesting their organs and hijacking...
Well, you're in the right place, Tommy, if you don't remember how season 1 ended.
Turning them into zombies. The opening of the first episode talks about this fungus in detail during a 1960s talk show. Now, toward the end of the program, the scientist describing the fungus assures the public that this kind of fungal infection could never pass on to humans. Unless, of course, you know, the world started getting warmer and it mutated to the point where it could withstand the human body temperature.
But that won't happen to us, right?
Well, I'm sure people won't.
I always get interesting how they have shows like this and they sort of base them on some loose bit of reality. So, as they just said, the fungus could not survive inside of a 98, 97, 99 degree human body. So for whatever reason, they were saying that basically because of global warming, this strain of the fungus has been able to become resistant to those levels of temperature, which causes people to be able to catch the fungus inside of them. And yeah, the real cordyceps fungus can be hosted by like insects and stuff, and then those insects do end up becoming almost like zombies and sort of end up going and turning into almost a hive mind and um, being able to work together to do things. They've also been able to like you lose control of yourself, which is exactly what happens in this. Um if that strain did, Lord help us. Yeah, man. It's crazy to think about it if it actually did get to that point. Um I don't know. I feel like I'm a tough guy, but I don't know how prepared. Well, I would say I'm prepared, but I don't know how prepared I am emotionally to deal with a catastrophic event like that. So let's just hope we don't have to deal with that.
Don't ever let that happen. You all keep the planet safe. Sure. So in 2003, the doctor's prediction came true. A variant of the cordyceps fungus finds its way into a flower factory in Indonesia. As the contaminated products were shipped internationally, it soon became a global pandemic. And this is where we meet Joel.
All I know is that seeing that like the virus or the cordyceps like fungus in these people's mouths, like, dude, that is like one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Like, give me the Walking Dead zombies over these. Like, I just feel like this is gross. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what about it like makes my skin crawl, but like, no, I can't handle it. Can't handle it. It's disgusting to me.
In Austin, Texas, way before it was filled with blue-haired hipster pirates. He's a hard-working single dad trying to provide for his daughter, Sarah. They accidentally make a life-saving choice by choosing a gluten-free breakfast the morning the outbreak hits.
Where's the pancake mix?
Oh, was that? Yeah, it was. Sorry.
Sarah, Joel, and his brother Tommy try to flee the city amidst all this chaos, but that's when Joel is hit with a canon event.
I got a bad feeling about this.
A soldier, under strict orders to contain the outbreak, shoots Sarah, and she dies in her father's arms. The Last of
Yeah,
Us
man, that was crazy.
most zombie stories because it's not about fighting the infected, it's about how we fight ourselves. The series explores what would happen in the aftermath of a global.
It seems like most zombie shows take on that approach. Like, it's not really about the virus, it's about how the people react to being the ones that don't have the virus. So it's never as much about the zombies as it is about the survivors.
The series explores what would happen in the aftermath of a global apocalypse. And in that future, the powers that control the world closely guard their information. And this is a reflection of the world we live in today. Because most mainstream media sites have a profit bias. They just want to feed you stories that up your engagement and confirm your existing opinions. And that's why, if you want to cut through the bias and hear the real news, I recommend Ground News. They're the sponsor of this video.
Come on. Hey, they sneak those ads in real good, don't they?
One way or the other. So they even have a blind or click this QR. Independent platform apart, and the United States is now a patchwork of quarantine zones, abandoned cities of infected, and wastelands. Joel is living in the Boston QZ, a grim, oppressive
Tommy says, but
place
always
run by the
dislike
Federal
when
Disaster
they
Response
don't get the
Agency,
cure, or when they
aka
didn't get the
Fedra.
cure in
He's
The
a
Walking Dead.
remnant
Yeah,
of the
man.
US military. He's
I fell out
about
with The
willing
Walking
to do
Dead.
whatever it takes to survive. And his partner, Tess, helps him navigate the
Quinalis,
black market,
wow,
selling
excited.
contraband
Did you
and
know
making
when
deals
you
with
guys are
great
going to
buys.
start
Joel's
watching the
primary
actual
goal is to
episode?
get to his brother in Wyoming.
Sorry to
To do
disappoint you,
that,
but we
he uses
can't
a
show the
car
actual
battery. Tess
episode on
finds
here
one
on the
before she
stream
can get her
because we'll
hands
get
on
in
it,
trouble
and it's
from
sold to the
YouTube and they will kick
Fireflies.
us out
What
and
a
ban my
rocket
channel.
that's gonna do to the
But
car battery.
you can
Well,
use your
the
own version or
Fireflies
whatever
are
method you can
revolutionary
of
green
jumping
lighting
on
and center.
to
Most of us listen to
HBO
Wyoming.
Max.
Truth is not trying
Yeah, however you need
goals
to,
to get to his brother in
and
Wyoming, but
then you can watch it yourself, and we will be commenting and talking about it and discussing it as the episode goes on. So yeah, I hope that you stick around for that at the very least, but if not, I understand, man. But yeah, we can't show it on here.
do that, he needs a car battery. Tess finds one, but before she can get her hands on it, it's been sold to the Fireflies. Or what are lightning bugs going to do with the car battery? They're not bugs, Doug. The Fireflies are a revolutionary militia group fighting against Fedra. This particular squad needs the battery to transport.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, hang around if you want. I mean, you can at least comment on the show with us. You can even figure out what's going on from the show by what we're talking about too. So yeah, drop that sub, man. Hit the like button too.
During childbirth. This exposed her to a small amount of infection, but just enough that her body could fight it off and develop a natural immunity, like a vaccine. She discovered her immunity after being bitten alongside her girlfriend in an abandoned mall, but she never turned, leaving only a scar as proof. The Fireflies believe that Ellie's immunity could end this nightmare for good. When Joel turns up to take the battery back for himself,
I wonder if if they ever going to get to in the show if her immunity is actually what everybody thinks that it is, because I mean, you know, spoiler alert, but later on we see her try to directly give some of her own blood to someone else who was coming down with the virus and was not able to stop it. So is she going to be able to give them immunity from getting it, or is she more so is this something that just works for her? I feel like there's going to be there would have to be a whole lot of scientific experiments just to figure out how she's able to be immune to it, and if they can synthesize that into something that is a cure for other people who don't have it, or a cure for people who have it, and also a way to prevent other people from getting it. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of questions here, and I wish that I know they're eventually going to get into that on the show. I wish we saw some of that stuff with the game, but I know that they're going to get onto it with the show.
They find out the battery was a dud anyways, so they strike a deal with Joel and Tess. If they can escort Ellie to one of their outposts, they'll get him what.
Yeah, it's a genetic thing for her. She's different.
No easy task, as it is infested with clickers. Oh, like remote controls? No, clickers are names for zombies in this show. And
definitely think it's a genetic mutation that she has that is creating and causing her to be able to be immune.
In the infected corpses over time, changing. They're not just zombies; they're super zombies that grow stronger as the fungus matures. Clickers are infected people who are in the initial stages of being fully overtaken by the cordyceps. The fungus has grown to cover their eyes, making them blind. They use
the clickers. I remember the clickers in the game, man. That was they were difficult. I always thought it was cool when they first appeared on the game. Like it was different, and knowing that you had to avoid making any sort of noise, like it made it super tense.
Echolocation to hunt, making this incredibly creepy clicking sound wherever they go. Joel, Tess, and Ellie end up finding out firsthand just how dangerous clickers can be, and after tussling with a few of them on their way to the outpost, they barely make it out alive. Now in the process though, Ellie is bitten, which is when she reveals her immunity to Joel and Tess. After wrapping their heads around this plot twist, they finally arrive at the outpost, only to find it littered with fireflies.
Yeah, no, they creep me out too, man.
The fireflies was infected, and they all shot each other in a panic. To top
I wonder if they're going. This scene right here
was bitten in the scuffle with the clickers.
Was the worst.
Infected people are headed their way after being alerted through the fungal network. Now,
see if they show it.
The fungus spreads through spores in the air. However, in the show, the fungus grow underground, like tree roots, and they create a connected network, which is also based on how fungi behave in nature. The largest organism on Earth is actually a fungus in Oregon that is nearly 2,400 acres, almost 4 square miles, and it's all one living thing connected through its underground network. The
That's
cordyceps
crazy.
fungus in The Last of Us works in a similar way, using its underground network like a giant brain. So the fungus works like a hive mind, so it's very hard to escape the fungus when you're in an area where it's already spread. And that makes it particularly terrifying. It's kind of like Rick's ex-girlfriend Unity with extra nightmare fuel.
Seems like this is all over. Wait,
I love Rick and Morty, man.
All right, Rick. That's everyone.
Tess sacrifices herself in a blaze of glory by making out with the mushroom man to buy Joel and Ellie enough time to escape.
Dude, that kiss with Tess and knows the fungus like crawling through the dude's mouth to hers, like, oh my God. Like that just makes my skin crawl, man. Makes my skin crawl. That's disgusting. I want to see it again though.
All right, Rick. That's everyone.
Tess sacrifices herself in a blaze of glory by making...
Yeah, this right here, all of this, and it's like wiggly and stuff, and oh man, yeah.
out with a mushroom man to buy Joel and Ellie enough time to escape. Now, while they manage to make it out, they're just as lost as they have no idea where the Fireflies are now or who even to deliver Ellie to. So Joel decides now is a better time than ever to head to Wyoming and find his brother. They just need a car. So they stop at the home of Joel's friend Bill, a doomsday prepper who
great episode, man.
with his partner.
Great
So
episode.
episode 3 gives us a beautiful look into the lives of Bill and Frank. And you should totally watch this episode. It's incredible, and I cried like a baby.
I was crying the whole time.
I did not cry, but it was a very good episode.
Overall story, it just happens to be the house where Joel and Ellie find a new set of wheels. This little side story with Bill actually does a fantastic job of showing the series themes using this emotional story between these two men. The show also takes small elements from the games like this and adapts them to create a narrative that's better fit for an HBO show, which is something I hope we can expect to see repeated in season 2.
Yes,
So with their new ride,
definitely.
Joel and Ellie bond on their trip to Kansas City, but their cute family moment comes to a screeching halt as they enter KC and are ambushed by raiders. Joel gets pinned down and Ellie ends up saving Joel with a gun that she secretly took from Bill's house.
King Kong ain't got nothing on me!
They manage to make it out, but now they're on this new group's radar. The raiders come looking to avenge their lost men, and it turns out that they're part of another revolutionary group, like the Fireflies, who recently overthrew their Fedra overlords. This is where Joel and Ellie run into Henry and Sam, two brothers on the run from the
Oh,
same
man,
group.
Henry and
Together,
Sam,
they
man.
try to escape the city through the only place the raiders wouldn't dare patrol, the clicker-infested subway tunnels. After some breathtakingly close calls, they make it out of the tunnels, but as soon as they get to the surface, the raiders ambush them. And just as they're about to execute Henry, one of the raiders' trucks falls into a sinkhole and explodes, inviting a massive horde of infected, including a bloater to crash the party. What's a bloater? Well, a bloater happens when the infection fully takes a person over. The growth from the fungus have covered their skin like armor that makes them even more resistant to gunfire, and they are huge. It's essentially the evolved form of a clicker. Now, as Kansas City is now flooded with infected, Joel and the group use the distraction to escape, but Sam is bitten during the chaos. Ellie tries to save him by giving him some of her blood, but it doesn't work, which
Didn't
forces
work.
Henry into having to put down his little brother and then take his own life in remorse. It's just one of many reminders.
Yeah, that was super tough to watch, man. Like I thought the way they did the camera work when the young boy had gotten bitten, I think they had went to sleep. Ellie and the little boy had like went to sleep, and then Ellie had woke up the next day or a few hours later or something like that, and the little boy, he just had his back to the camera and he was sitting at the foot of the bed, and you thought for a second that maybe he had that he was okay, but she said something to him or pushed him or tapped him or something. He turned around and he's like, so it's like, man, you knew it was a wrap. Then the older brother had to come in and put him out of his misery, and took his life. And then he could not deal with the burden of knowing that he had to, kill his brother, and he took his own life. And it was just like, man, just heartbreaking. And it was like so fast. Like you had the whole episode where they were like bonding and everything was okay, and then in the series of like maybe the last 3 minutes, like all this stuff happened where that eventually culminated in the older brother taking his own life. And it was just, and then they walked away, and just, man, it just left you. I kept thinking about that moment, and if I would do something like that, if it came down to it. And I mean, I totally understand his sorrow and his reasoning for doing something like that. Like I get it. Like I totally get it. I don't know necessarily if I would go that route and end up having to harm myself like that, but like I get it. I totally get it. Real tough to watch. Another great episode of TV.
Of the dark realities in this post-apocalyptic world, but the shared trauma brings Joel and Ellie even closer.
Trauma
together.
bonding.
Ellie picks up a book of puns and starts firing them off whenever they have a minute to lighten the mood.
Did you know diarrhea is hereditary?
What?
Yeah. It runs in your genes.
And Joel really starts to open up to her, becoming the found family father figure that Pedro Pascal is known for. Now, eventually, they reach Wyoming.
I was
where
going to
Joel
say, Pedro
reunites with his
Pascal is
brother,
like
who lives
everybody's
in
father in
Houston,
everything
and
that
was
he's
even about
in.
to become a dad. As Joel starts to settle down himself, he wrestles with his guilt and fear, realizing how much Ellie means to him. He decides to see their mission through, and Tommy provides them with supplies to continue their journey to a Firefly lab in Colorado. But yet again, it is another dead end. The lab was abandoned, but they do find a lead pointing to a new hideout in Salt Lake City.
Again? Really?
However, on their way out, Joel takes a baseball bat to the gut after killing a raider who tried to catch them off guard. Ellie manages to get him to safety, but Joel only hangs by a thread.
Yeah, I was a little nervous at this point because I was wondering if they were gonna go like fully off script from the game and like kill him off at this point. But yeah, he ends up making it through. But I was wondering for a second, because that's the one thing that, you know, you have shows like this that end up covering a known property. And for those of us who have played the game, we kind of know what's going on and what to expect. But that doesn't mean that the show is going to take those same exact directions. So I always try to keep that in mind, even though you know that they're going to probably like 90% of the time stick to the source material. But you never know if they decide to change something up and, you know, do something crazy drastic, like, you know, like have him perish because of that gunshot wound.
Ellie does her best to try to nurse him back to health. She goes out to hunt for food when she is cornered by a group of men led by a dude named David, who kidnaps her and locks her in a cell.
Biggest
Turns out these
creeper.
guys belong to the same group as the guy that Joel killed in Colorado, and they have been looking for him ever since. So with Ellie behind bars, they try to hunt down Joel next, but he recovers in just enough time to go full Liam Neeson on their asses before finding out where they hid her.
Where's my daughter?
Now back at the compound, David starts making some unsettling advances toward Ellie. When she refuses to be his next child wife, he throws her on a table and threatens to make her into the next family dinner. But she gives him the ick when she reveals her clicker bite.
I've been bitten, you stupid pricks! I'm tainted meat.
They hesitate long enough for Ellie to slice a chunk out of them with a butcher knife before escaping. After a fiery showdown in a steakhouse, Ellie gets the stealth kill that she needs and lets out her new trauma on David's face. Joel finds her barely clinging to life.
She lost it at that point too. And I mean, not like I blame her at all, but like that was wild. And I don't like, she needed that release. I hate that it had to come at the expense of somebody else, but this was not a good guy. So like, yeah, it's whatever when it came down to him. But that was, yeah, she went in, man. She must have got him, you know, 10, 15 times.
Just everything that just happened, they continue their journey. Now, when they eventually reach Salt Lake City, they briefly enjoy a moment of peace when they run into an escaped giraffe from the local zoo, a scene straight out of the game. Joel opens up to Ellie about his daughter, and she asks,
So time heals all wounds, I guess.
It wasn't time that did it.
but the sweet sentiment is short-lived as the Fireflies ambush them and take them hostage.
Wait, I thought the Fireflies were the good guys. Why did they kidnap them?
Well, we find out as soon as Joel wakes up. He is in a hospital, but Ellie is nowhere to be found. Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies who made the deal with Joel, tells him,
Gentlemen,
they said the lady who, the woman who plays Marlene is actually the same voice actress from the game, and they actually casted her in the show. So I thought that was pretty cool.
good news and bad news.
Now, they believe they can create a cure from Ellie's blood, but it is going to cost her her life, which does not go over well with Joel. He just established how Ellie is now like a daughter to him, and so he cannot lose another daughter. So Joel goes full John Wick, tearing through the hospital.
Which was the culmination of the end of the first game, was this this scene in this scenario here, man. So much fun. Like, I played it multiple times just because I wanted to go back and do it again. That's how great it was.
To save Ellie. He clears out the entire hospital and even the doctors before escaping with Ellie's unconscious body. He is confronted by Marlene just before he hits the getaway car, who reminds him that he's not really saving Ellie from anything. They still live in an apocalyptic nightmare, but Joel adds her to the body count anyways. And as they drive away, Ellie finally wakes up and asks what happened, to which he replies with,
Turns out there's a whole lot more like you. People that are immune.
Right, but that's not what happened. He told a lie.
Exactly, and Ellie doesn't seem to believe him either. As they return to Tommy's settlement in Wyoming, Ellie confronts Joel, asking him to swear that he's telling the truth. He does, and the season ends on a haunting note of uncertainty. Now, without spoiling anything from the games, it's safe to say that Joel's lie is going to be a major plot point in Season 2. However, there were quite a few changes from the games in the first season, so there's still some potential for some surprises in Season 2. And guys, that was Season 1 of The Last of Us. I cannot tell you how excited I am.
I think that they're going to actually have some surprises. surprises in this second season. Of course, you know, you can't really speculate about exactly what's going to go down, but I would guess that there's going to be a few changes to sort of keep all of us who played the games involved and on edge as far as the show is concerned, because just you can't take it straight by the script. You can't take it straight by the game. There were a few scenes and a few things that happened in that second game that I really, really, really wonder if they're going to go that route. I haven't looked at any of the cast or anything like that, so I don't know exactly who some of the actors and actresses are in this season, but yeah, I'm guessing if we once we look at this trailer coming up soon, we might see a character or two that look familiar. But yeah, that was a recap of season 1, and we are going to jump into our live stream watch party shortly at the top of the hour for the season premiere, the second season premiere of The Last of Us. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for hanging out and watching. All right, let's jump into the season 2 trailer. All right, so this is the season 2 trailer for The Last of Us season 2. And I have not watched it, so you're going to get my live reaction to this. I am very excited for it. We have live stream watch parties every Sunday. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing right now, you can always hang out with us every Sunday, an hour or 30 minutes before the show starts. But yeah, let's jump into this reaction and view it together.
You okay?
Man, she's looking older.
Yeah.
More greenery, must be heading
This
west.
is where we live. And what's that?
The fence.
What's inside?
People.
What's outside?
Monsters.
Dang. Yep, know who that is.
By the time the sun comes up tomorrow, there's a very good chance you'll be dead. You're gonna lose.
Don't you know what he did?
Dang, man.
You swore.
Yeah, man. Oh man. Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. I'm excited. So yeah, let's jump into a recap and a breakdown of that season 2 trailer real quick. And yeah, that swearing part is definitely going to come back and bite Joel because he is breaking a promise. And Tommy says that the villain comes in. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I'm nervous. Especially because this villain doesn't necessarily seem like a villain, but definitely turns into one. And that's all I'm going to say.
Stars, I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown for the trailer for The Last of Us Season 2. April 13th starts a new season season of 7 episodes on Max, adapting the first sections of part 2 of the game, with Pedro Pascal returning as Joel, Bella Ramsey returning as Ellie, Gabriel Luna returning as Tommy, and a new expanded cast including Kaitlyn as Abby, Young Mazino as Jesse, Isabela Merced as Dina, Danny Ramirez as Manny, Jeffrey Wright returning from the game as WLF leader Isaac, and Joe Pantoliano as Eugene. I am very excited for these 7 episodes, and there are so many great details in this trailer, so I'm gonna break it down.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Explain the deeper meaning of the music. But here's the deal. For this video, and for really all of our Last of Us coverage, which will include same night couch reactions, in-depth Easter egg analyses,
my reactions are better.
Q&As over on the break room, we are going to separate our videos into a spoiler-free discussion on the visuals and the themes in the first half of the video, and then in the back half, we're gonna go into our spores of spoilers section, where we will
I'm not gonna cover any of the spoilers. I'm not gonna cover any of the spoilers.
It's hard to even do it this way when it comes to a trailer breakdown, because new Rockstar's trailer breakdowns are by their nature predictive and speculative and theory-based, and I can't really do that without getting into spoilers. But there are some really cool things to talk about in both halves of this video, so let's get to it. Let's break it down. Okay, the trailer opens with Ellie creeping through a grocery store, or this might be Weston's pharmacy outside of Jackson. Her Converse is tiptoeing past a broken bottle, and a stalker creeps past her in the background way too fast. Shots like this are part of why I love this series, because in the game you only sense the peripheral horror until it jumps out at you, but on this series they can use dramatic irony like this to heighten attention. So yes, I think this is Weston's pharmacy. This is part of the patrols you go on early on in the game. We actually see Ellie fighting off this stalker later in the trailer. Next, a close-up of Joel's watch. This is a watch his daughter Sarah gave him as a birthday present in Austin in the prologue of part 1, which was depicted in the first episode of season 1, which just reminds us that Joel has completely emotionally transferred his father-daughter relationship from Sarah onto Ellie, and that's not necessarily the healthiest thing for either of these characters, but it is a very true thing for both of them.
Yeah, it might not be the healthiest, but that's all he got right now.
From them, you can see some giraffes roaming behind them, so this must be in Salt Lake City, as we saw in season 1. These would be the graves of the Fireflies that Joel killed in St. Mary's Hospital. Next, we see Ellie and Joel going on a hike through the woods. This is a flashback to an earlier memory with Joel and Ellie that we see in part 2 of the game, which take place about a year after the events of the first season. We'll get into all this later on in this video. Then we see the town of Jackson, and it's far more expanded than what we saw in season 1. We see both a street corner view of people walking around, and then a widened shot showing several blocks, including a church. On the left, a tractor pulls a trailer with tree logs that I assume are being used to fortify the fence. We see Joel talking a kid through a map of this town. I think this kid is Tommy and Maria's son, who would be new to the story that the show added. If we are 4 years after the first season, I think he would be the right age. The red line of the map represents the wall, and we see how that red line extends through the city blocks where part of the old pre-outbreak version of Jackson was, and that would make all of those blocks vulnerable to the infected that could be hiding around corners. Uncle Joel tells this kid that inside these walls are people, and on the outside, monsters. And I like how he doesn't distinguish whether or not anybody on the outside is infected. It's a classic Joel Miller, us versus them. Anyone who's not us is monsters. Kill them. In this office, there's a board listing the 4 phases of an emergency. Prepare, respond.
I think that's the only way that you can exist in something like this too. Like, there's no way that you have to be inherently afraid of everything and everyone, because everything and everyone is coming after you, whether it's the infected, whether it's the people who aren't infected. Either way, they're there to destroy what you have. So you have to almost always and completely take on an me versus them sort of situation and mindset. And I don't really blame them for that. It's the only way that you can survive.
Recover and stabilize. There's also a patrol schedule that includes Joel and Tommy and Ellie in the game, and that's how they end up outside Jackson. We see Joel in Ellie's house, and a shot of Joel handing Ellie the guitar. No spoilers here, but this is part of a moment in the game when Joel plays Pearl Jam's Future Days to Ellie and then hands her the guitar with the plan to teach her. Pearl Jam's Future Days was the music that we heard in the September teaser trailer, but many of us have wondered if they will use that track for this series since it came out in the year 2013, and some gamers have even questioned if Joel could have heard that on the radio by Outbreak Day in the game's timeline of September 2013. But since the show's Outbreak Day was moved up to 2003, 2013's Future Days would definitely be an anachronism. In that September trailer, though, I pointed out some Nirvana posters that we saw in the background, speculating that the show might swap with a Nirvana song. And sure enough, this trailer uses Nirvana's You Know You're Right. Now, we don't know if this is the song that Joel will play for Ellie in the show, or if it's just a song they use for the trailer. But in many ways, You Know You're Right is kind of a perfect choice. Not just are the song's title and lyrics reflecting the weight of Joel's decision to save Ellie despite potentially dooming humanity. Joel knows he's right. You Know You're Right also has its own.
I wasn't the biggest
history.
Nirvana fan.
Initially without a title, recorded by Nirvana in 1993 before Kurt Cobain's death in 1994, and then later online leaked in September 2002, known only as Kurt's Tune Number 1. And then after a series of lawsuits and cease and desists, the record company officially released the track as You Know You're Right on a Nirvana Greatest Hits album in October 2002. So this would be a track that Joel Miller in the show's timeline would know by the time of Outbreak Day in September 2003, and a track with its own reputation as a relic from the past that resurfaced in a later era. It's also just pretty fitting to hear these Kurt Cobain vocals over scenes we know will take place in Seattle, Kurt Cobain's hometown. We see the dance in Jackson where Ellie dances with Dina, a dance that gets referenced in the game. There's a close-up of a scythe and a group hanging a guy in the woods from a city street lamp that they hauled out there. This is a scene directly from the game where Ellie finds a group called the Seraphites, aka the Scars, a Seattle area cult who is at war with the WLF, Washington Liberation Front, aka the Wolves. So shortly after the outbreak, there was a woman in the Seattle area who would later be known as the Prophet, who supposedly had a vision of an egalitarian life, living off the land, renouncing all pre-outbreak technology.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Warriors are known to use some modern weapons. We never meet the Prophet in the game, but we do get to know the Luddite cult that follows in her example. They are at war with a group called the Wolves, the Washington Liberation Front, which is a Seattle area militia that's led by Isaac, played by Jeffrey Wright, both in the game and now in live action. We see a WLF tank and WLF soldiers with their wolf sigil on their helmets. We see this shot of Abby, Kaitlyn Deaver, with her group that she brings to the Jackson area. There were 8 of them in the game, but here we just see 5. I don't know if Mel and Nora are with them here. There's a clicker in the snow as the Horde attacks the walls of Jackson. I think it might be missing one of its fingers, suggesting that it had been frostbitten off. Now, the September trailer showed a wide shot of that Horde as it swarms in, hard home style. It seems like this Horde
crazy,
might
man.
have come in with an avalanche, because it looks like the infected are crawling out from the snow, and normally the Jackson residents do patrols to keep infected numbers from piling up like this. Explosions tear through the infected outside the walls of Jackson, and we see Tommy gunning them down, which is interesting because Tommy is not at this spot during the swarm in the game, so I'm wondering if they're changing where Tommy is during all these events. This shot shows Ellie and Dina on horseback headed to Seattle.
Like I said, I'm okay with some of the changes too.
Walking Dead shot of Rick on horseback headed up to Atlanta in that pilot episode.
I thought
This
that's what they were
show
trying to
here,
do.
Kurt
It does
Cobain's
look like
vocals,
that.
and naturally, we see it over the Seattle skyline. The road sign shows distances to both Seattle and Tacoma and Portland, and I think it's because the direction they're approaching Seattle is from Wyoming, which would be from the east. Next, we see a Seraphite from behind with the Seraphite symbol on his poncho. Now, if you listen to this part, you can hear a whistle. In part 2 of the game, there are actually 9 core tactical whistles that the Scars exchange while they're on patrol trying to hunt you down. And each whistle means different things. There's a general call and a general response to that call. There's one meaning a light alert. There's one meaning a shot whistle that you really just whistle to get a target to look up so that you can hit him with an arrow. There's an ambush warning whistle. There's a high alert whistle. There's an enemy found whistle. And there's a whistle meaning I'm moving forward, so watch my 6. And then there's a whistle meaning man down. And I think what we hear during this clip is man down. There is some context to these characters, and just
Definitely
a lot of
is
shots
man
of characters
down.
in Seattle. But next is this shot that I have to point out, showing Joel and Ellie in a museum looking at the space exploration exhibit with a NASA reentry capsule. It's one of the most beloved moments from the game, and with the way the light just hits that green vegetation, it has the same warmth that this moment has in the game, and I have so much I want to say about this, but I can't without spoiling it. We see this moment where Joel helps Ellie get a tattoo to cover the part of her arm where she was bitten that left the fungal infection scarring that she will now have throughout this part of the story. Then we see Ellie in a hospital and Isaac interrogating a Seraphite, and then one of my favorite shots of the trailer, Ellie finds this infected person who has been grown into like a fungal column
sick.
with a pile of skulls.
So
this
sick.
is gnarly, and it does not seem to be a moment from the game, so let's talk about it. This thing is breathing out spores, which is a very big deal because airborne spores are a big part of the game, but not as much in season 1 of the HBO series. Season 1 established that the fungus spread in yeast that was in most food products. And the show established that the cordyceps fungus has kind of a range threat in a specific way where if you step on a patch of it anywhere, that would alert any nearby infected in like a several mile radius. Now, Ellie, as someone with an immunity, wouldn't have too much to worry about these airborne spores, but I really hope season 2 explores the spores as more of the airborne threat that they are in the game. And it could be the case in Seattle because the soil in this part of the country would just be too wet, maybe too loose for the mycelium to be able to snake through.
Yeah, I wonder
so
if they're going to go full on airborne with the disease, and I wonder what would be the reasoning behind switching it up now, and changing that aspect and going closer to the source material, because like they said in the source material, it definitely was airborne the entire time, and in this it does not seem to be airborne, at least initially, and maybe they're changing that up now as we get into this second season. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
The cordyceps at that point could evolve to become airborne. I'm not the kind of person who can tell you how the bioavailability of 1,000 different vitamins and minerals and 1,000 different foods are.
Sounds like
I
an
know
ad.
vitamins are good for. I guess I've been hydrating wrong. Everything is less trying, and my heart % off your first order and take the first step to getting healthy.
Support new rock stars just right after you support our channel too.
Next, we see this character, Eugene, played by Joe Pantoliano. Yes, the Joey Pants, Cypher from The Matrix, Ralph Cifaretto in The Sopranos. He was in The Goonies. He's like the best. Now, Eugene only gets mentioned in the game version of The Last of Us Part 2. He was a resident in Jackson whom Dina got to know. He had served with Tommy during their time in the Fireflies, but we never meet him because he died before the events of the game. He's actually one of the few people we hear about who died of natural causes after Outbreak Day. And what was crazy to learn in the past week is that Eugene is apparently getting his own standalone episode this season. And I know what you're thinking, they're only doing 7 episodes and they're giving one of them to Eugene? I think that tells us it's going to be an awesome episode, but I'll get to why later. We see Ellie and Dina on a subway train car. We saw shots from this sequence in the September trailer. Ellie faces Nora, an ally to Abby, played by Tati Gabrielle. She asks Ellie,
Don't you know what he did?
and you can see some floating spores around Ellie here, and it's because we're at this moment of the game where people are realizing that Ellie is that immune one. Next, we see someone who I think is Abby being strung up by the scars, which is another moment of the game, and then Tommy blasts a flamethrower at a bloater. Now, I don't know if we see a bloater at any point in Jackson in the game, but hell, why not have one here in what's going to be a crazy episode? Flamethrowers and Molotov cocktails are really the best way to take down bloaters in the game because they are affected by fire, so Tommy knows what he's doing here, but we end with Ellie in this bitter moment with Joel.
You swore.
So she's referring to this moment from the season 1 finale.
Swear to me that everything you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Joel had told her on the ride away from Salt Lake City, lying to her that the Fireflies had already failed to develop a cure for other immune people. So after Joel swears that he was telling the truth, after a long pause, Ellie says,
Okay.
and I just really love the way Bella Ramsey played that because I read it as Ellie deep down thought Joel might be lying to her, but she just kind of accepted Joel's ambiguity because this morally gray and literally graying old timer is the only ride or die she has ever felt safe with. So now in this moment when she sneers, "You swore," her shattered trust is also just some anger she feels at herself and some fear that she's now just tethered to this psychopath who uses unconditional love to justify some atrocious violence. Okay, I've exhausted my ability to discuss these upcoming 7 episodes.
All right, yeah, we're not going to get into any of their spoiler talk and stuff on here because I want to have our audience remain as spoiler free as possible. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate that recap of everything from the trailer from the folks over at New Rockstars. But yeah, I am really excited for this season 2 of The Last of Us. If you are watching, we have live stream watch parties for every episode of The Last of Us Season 2. They start 30 minutes prior to the episode debuting. The episodes start at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we will be live 30 minutes before that to discuss and break down everything that happened in the previous episode and also get hyped and ready for the next episode. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the trailer. And if you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified each and every time we go live in 2025. Thanks for hanging out. All right, so I am going to pull up my HBO Max real quick. All right. So, yeah, we're getting close, man. We're getting close. We got about another 13 minutes left before the episode drops online. And yeah, if you're watching right now, what are you most excited about? I think the thing that I am the most excited about is trying to figure out and learn if they are going to stay completely with the source material, or how they're going to divert from the source material. There's a lot of different shows who have source material, of course, and this one, since it comes from a video game, you have a very wide group of people who know that source material back and forth. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually decide to keep or how much of that source material do they decide to run with, and how much do they decide that they want to have some creative license with it. So yeah, if I had to guess, I would think that they're going to stick with the source material pretty closely. I would say in the first season, they probably had about 85 to 90% stuck with the source material. I would guess that this would be pretty much the same. I just know that there's some major things that happen, and it's probably going to be season 3 in this show. But there's some major things that happen towards the tail end. The second, I'll say the second half of the second game that starts, some major events occur, and I just wonder how many of those are they actually going to keep. Yeah, so I guess we'll see. That's one of the things. That's probably the thing that I'm most excited about thus far. But yeah, looks like we have about 10 minutes left. Yeah, we'll just hang on right here for a little bit. So yeah, if you're watching, what are you excited about? Let me know in the chat below. Also, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button while you're at it, please. Support the channel. So yes, we're about 10 minutes out from the episode right now, and let me see if there's anything else that we need to check out before we get going. So it looks like some people have gotten like the full season and watched it already. Like that's cool. And I guess, like, you know, if you're a bigger channel or someone who's been covering the show, you know, from the very beginning, you might get access to those types of things. And I mean, that'll be cool when I get to that point where our channel is able to get like the screeners, and we can put out reviews before the episodes actually launch, because there's so many times where, you know, like tonight we're gonna watch the episode, I'm gonna do my live reaction, and then I'm gonna upload it, and it's gonna be uploaded tonight, and then my views aren't going to be where they need to be, because it's going to take a while for it to get caught into the algorithm and then be pushed out to folks. But the other people who have already seen the episodes and who have already seen the season can do all of their breakdowns, and they've had it for a while, so they have that stuff just ready to roll out as soon as the episode is over. So they got an advantage right there, but I'm hoping that we can nullify that advantage just through sheer force of will by having all the dozens and dozens and single digits of people who are watching this right now comment and like and watch the video. So yeah, down to 8 minutes. 8 minutes. I'm just gonna look through my phone and see if anybody else is doing any sort of like live stream, watch party types things for The Last of Us. Let's see what we got here. We got one watch party. Let me sort it by live. See how much competition we got right now. Yeah, we got another one that's watching it. 3, 4. Yeah, okay. So yeah, got some folks watching. Got some folks watching. But yeah, I personally am excited to see what ends up happening this go around. And there's so many people, like I'm scrolling through the vertical feed of the show, and the second swipe up I get is our stream. So that's cool. At least it's working. At least it's working. And then you start getting into other random craziness. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a ton of people like really checking for this show right now, which I don't understand. I'm kind of surprised. Like where is everybody who is supposed to be enjoying these shows, man? It seems like it's hard to get people to watch content these days. And I'm especially not going to support someone else's channel. Ha. But yeah, we're about 5 minutes out. 5 minutes out before we get started with The Last of Us Season 2. Pull up my HBO Max. I do not see it uploaded yet. I wonder if there are any sort of extras we can watch before we get going. Yeah, I can't really show these either. Darn it. I've never actually checked out any of the behind the scenes stuff for the show. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. And I see they do their own recaps and stuff of the episodes too. Yeah, maybe one day at least we can do a verbal breakdown of these. I can't show them on stream, of course, but we can do a verbal breakdown of these. So if I heard correctly, it is a 7-episode season, which is, man, crazy. Like that's really quick. I feel like they cut it, or they have it at 7 episodes because they are stretching the source material out as much as they can. And then, like, I know we watched a recap that there's a character that gets like almost a standalone episode during this season. It's because they're stretching things out as much as they can. I'm sure they're trying to figure out how exactly they're going to deal with the source material, as in the game. There's only 2 games. So if you do half of the game in this season and then maybe half the game in the next season, you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to either wait for The Last of Us Part 3 to come out, or you're going to have to dive and get into your own, sort of source material for this and make up your own sort of storylines. And that can be dangerous territory because you don't know if and when the third game is going to come out. So whenever the third game comes out, you want this to be at least similar to it. So that takes a lot of coordination. And I don't know if they're able to coordinate all that type of information right now, but that would be kind of tough, I would imagine. That'd be kind of tough. Especially if the show comes out before the game, which is, if it was going to happen, it'd be, I'm almost 99% sure it's going to be like that, because we don't even have an announcement for The Last of Us Part 3. So that means it's at least 3 years out, at least. From whenever they announce it, I would say, yeah, fast forward 3 years, and that's when we'll have the show, or that's when we'll have the game. Down to 2 minutes, folks, 2 minutes. So yeah, I'm going to have to mute my desktop audio so that does not show up on the stream and get us flagged, because I have had to deal with that before and I'm not trying to deal with that again. Yeah, I'm really surprised that there aren't as many people, checking for this right now. So yeah, we're about 2 minutes away from the episode debuting. Oh, the episode is up. Man, a full 2 minutes early. What is that? All right, we're going to go ahead and switch screens and get this going. Okay. All right. So usually what I do is whenever I watch a show, I do not look at any of the recaps, or if there's a long drawn out like title sequence, I skip those and go directly into the show. So that's what we're going to be doing on here. I have a timer that's going to start when I start watching the episode, as in when the episode like actually starts, not any recaps or anything like that. So I'm guessing that there's probably going to be a pretty lengthy recap at the beginning of this episode. So I'm going to click on it to start now. Let's see if we get a recap. Yep, can skip that. Okay. So there we got it. Episode is pulled up. The episode, it just says season 2, episode 1, episode 1. They haven't even released the title of it yet. So maybe we got it real early. But yeah, let me get my script up. All right, we'll start the episode counter in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, so this must be the aftermath of when Joel took out all those people. Yep. Oh, Abby. Abby's not as buff on the show as she normally is, man. I wonder if they're gonna like have her like buff up a little bit for the next half of the season. I wonder is anybody going to show any compassion for Abby as the show goes on. I don't know if I don't know if I really buy the portrayal of Abby. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much of this Abby I really buy right now, but we'll see. We'll see. We're watching The Last of Us season 2 premiere right now. 4 minutes into it. Can't skip the title sequence for whatever reason, but yeah, we're watching. If you're watching right now, please drop a comment. What do you think thus far? Got a lot of Abby in those first few minutes. Dang, 5 years later, huh? She need to get that knee up a little higher because that's not doing anything right there. Yeah, relax a little bit, Ellie. So Ellie's still tough girl. Still tough girl. Looks like the city of Jackson got a huge expansion over the last 5 years, especially from what they've shown us in the show thus far. It's way bigger than it was before. It seemed like before they only gave us like maybe, it looks like it was like maybe 2 blocks, about the size of 2 blocks. But yeah, it's a full-on city right now. If you're watching the episode right now, we are almost 7 minutes into it, or almost 8 minutes into it. Let me know what you're thinking thus far. What do you think of the heavy Abby in the opening? Still thinking about that, man. I wonder if she's gonna be buffed up. Licking wires is not gonna get you to be able to test voltage very well. So it seems to be common knowledge that Ellie is mad at Joel, and I guess she's been mad for a long time then. Interesting scene. Interesting scene. Let's give us a little bit of background on where everybody is at emotionally currently. So obviously their relationship is a bit strained at this point. See, I would have made that choice. If he wants her to not be on the patrol, that's what I would have been rolling with. I'm sorry. So everything seems real normal in this town, but I know that it's not. You can sense some of the tension and the tension rising as the episode sort of goes on. See, here we go. Running out of space. Yeah. Like I said, the town has expanded by leaps and bounds. And the more people you have, the more potential there is for drama and problems. So I get why you want more people because those more people can help you, but man, it is rough trying to take care of that many people. She will forever be Tara from True Blood to me. Hmm. We are watching The Last of Us season 2, episode 1 right now, and you're getting my live commentary of the goings on for the episode. Almost 18 minutes into it right now. Oh man, I realized that she was going to be in the show this season. I'm guessing this is his therapist. Hmm. So we got a therapist that's basically telling them how it is, telling them what it is. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, we're supposed to get a Eugene episode at some point during this season. Is it amazing? I won't say it's amazing. It's okay. It's okay. Hmm. Yeah, I know. Need you to watch tomorrow. Hmm. I lied. I tell you, I lied. Hmm. Still can't come clean. A little bit of tension between those two. Ah, from the show Beef. I know I was trying to figure out what I remember him from. But yeah, it's from the show Beef. He played the brother on there. I don't know, man. I know that these are hardcore and rugged adults, young adults, I guess at this point. But man, that's a lot of responsibility to go out and run these patrols like this at that young an age. Hmm. Know something gonna happen with her. Mm. Nope, that's where you turn around. Turn it around. Don't go investigate. Turn it around. Mm. Dang. She ain't gonna make it on this episode. She ain't gonna make it through. I already know. We are watching The Last of Us season 2, episode 1 right now. 32 minutes in, and a little more than halfway. Yeah. Like she feels herself a little too much, man. None of this stuff, like you don't operate like this in a situation like this. You need to be cautious, you need to be prepared. Like there's no benefit to being just willing to take on anything and go look at anything and being reckless. There's no benefit to it. So like what are they going to prove by going in here and taking out whatever might be in there, all while running the risk of, getting killed themselves? Mm. Yeah, if those ones on the outside are dead, odds are the rest of their crew knows what's going on too. No way she survives this episode. And they splitting up. Like this is like textbook 101 for the things that you're not supposed to do. Yeah, man. It's ain't no way. Ain't no way. Watching The Last of Us season 2, episode 1 right now. We'll be talking about it at the end of the episode. And also, if you're watching it right now, you can fast forward to the timestamp that I'm at and you can talk about it with me. No. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. And here we go. Mm. Tense. Tense. Ellie's recklessness has to come back and haunt her at some point. And I think it's gonna happen real quick in this episode. Mm. They up in the horror elements in this season, I see. Watching The Last of Us season 2 episode 1 right now. Looks like Ellie is in some deep doo-doo. Whatever this creature is, it's just as sneaky as she is, so that's definitely not good. I don't think it's a clicker. I've never seen a clicker roam around like this. What is that? Behind you. What is that thing, man? Call them sneakers. She can't hear that? Ugh. Headshot. Come on, man. So none of these other folks know that she is immune, I guess. Stalkers. Yeah, bad choice. Show does a great job of building up the tension, man. She's gonna try to make it not look like a bite mark, I guess. Ugh. Mm. I'm always squeamish when it comes to showing stuff like that. Ugh. Yeah, I knew Ellie was digging her. The guitar teaching scene is definitely part of the second game. Yeah, it's messed up. You see all this with the town and stuff. You just know that it's gonna go to crap sooner rather than later. Yeah, I couldn't deal with somebody being so reckless and random like that. Just knowing, even without playing the game, you just know when bad things are gonna happen. Not good, not good, not good. That's the theme of it, right? That's why she's going out there risking life and limb and doing all her crazy stuff because she don't need anybody's help. Okay. Coming close to the end of episode 1 of season 2 of The Last of Us. Going to be discussing the episode, full spoilers shortly. I knew that those roots were going to be a problem. I don't know why you would just leave that and think that it was okay. All right. All right. All right. Pretty good first episode. Pretty good first episode. Okay, we're going to do a quick breakdown. Let me turn these scripts off, stop, and reset. Close that out. I'm going to switch my screens. Okay. Let me get my chat off the screen a little bit. Okay. All right. Thanks for checking out another episode of Watch Stuff with us. I'm JD, and we are going to be breaking down my immediate reaction to episode 1 of season 2 of The Last of Us. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below. Also hit the notification bell so you can be notified each and every time we go live in 2025. And we do live stream watch parties 1 or 30 minutes before the episode airs on HBO Max, and then we watch the episode together and hang out. So I would love to invite you and have you along for the ride. But let's get this review going. We start out with one Miss Abby, probably the most controversial character in the entire series. And she is hell-bent on revenge for Joel taking out a bunch of the Fireflies. You can see their graves here. Yeah, and it seems as though she is the others are upset about it still, and the others feel like they need to there needs to be justice, but she is beyond justice. She wants to take Joel out. So she's having one of the other people try to take, almost like talk her down a little bit. Like, I won't say talk her down, but try to make her be a little bit more rational, and like she was not having it one bit. And sequence had Ellie here sparring with one of her people who is sort of like training her, which is cool. You kind of wondered what was going on in the beginning because they were going at it. Like they were fighting hardcore. So, yeah, just shows that Ellie has upped her strength. She has, she sort of seems as though she has a chip on her shoulder at this point. Like she feels like she needs to prove it to everybody that she's tough. And she was obviously training here. And you have the young man. Well, before we get to that point, we have the town of Jefferson, I believe, or Jackson, I'm sorry, that is way bigger than what it was at the end of season 1. So there, if you haven't noticed, there's also been a 5-year time gap between the events of the end of season 1 to right now. So Jackson has turned into a pretty sprawling town. I would have to imagine that there are probably at least a few thousand people who live there at this point, which is that has to be rough to try to take care of that many people and try to keep an area that large secure. And that's going to eventually turn into an issue. We have Joel here tinkering a little bit. I can't remember exactly what this young lady's name is, but she ends up being a focal point of this episode. Little bit of a troublemaker, but the one thing that happens in this is that they have a conversation, and basically you pick up on that that Ellie and Joel are not on good terms. They don't really go into breaking down exactly why they aren't on good terms, but we all know. And it seems as though Joel is trying his best to act like it isn't affecting him, but it definitely is. It definitely is. It seems like he isolates himself a lot. And then we have Ellie here doing a little bit of target practice. And basically who I would call, I mean, this is Joel's brother, but you'd almost have to call him like Ellie's uncle at this point. But it seems as though everybody's trying to look out for her, and she doesn't want that. And she wants to just sort of do her own thing and prove her own worth. So she basically convinces him to allow her and the team to go out on a patrol tonight, even though she was supposed to be on the fence, like, just on the gate watching over the city and the town. But she wanted to take a more active role. And I think his name is Malcolm, and he allows her to do that. His therapist, who is played by Catherine O'Hara, and obviously Joel is at a point where he feels as though, as his therapist picks up that he has a lot of guilt in him, and that he just needs to say what's wrong and needs to explain what's going on. So basically, her husband, Joel, had to kill her husband. And I believe her husband was named Edgar. And I believe there's going to be an Edgar-centric episode at some point later on in the season. But we learned that Joel had to kill him. And basically, she was able to confess that she hates Joel, even though she knows that it needed to happen. She hates him, and she was willing to, be vulnerable and explain this and put this, out there. And she asked for Joel to do the same thing, and he's still, closed. He doesn't want to share. He doesn't want to discuss. And he eventually says that he hurt Ellie. And he did not get into that he lied to her. She kind of assumed that it was something physical, but that's definitely not it. And came out and said that he didn't exactly come out and say that he lied to her, but he alluded that he did, that he did hurt her. So I think that's going to be a big part of his healing at some point, is that he's going to have to come clean to Ellie about everything that happened, so that he can even begin to forgive himself for lying to her to begin with. So yeah, this is just more of their conversation. And then we have Ellie and her friend about to go out on a excursion as they patrol the town, which is cool. But I mean, like I said, this young lady she's a great character in the game. I can't think of her name, but she's a great character in the game, but she's not a very good influence for Ellie, because Ellie feels as though she almost has to, or at least the way I interpret it is that she has to almost keep up with her. And that they kind of like just aren't good together. They kind of push each other to do things that they shouldn't do, that are definitely dangerous. And yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily something that is a bad character trait, but it is something that will ratchet up the danger for any time that they're together. It's like, they're two sticks of dynamite. When you get them together, something explosive happens. So yeah, we have them here just telling them to be safe. They're heading out on the patrol. They come across a pile of 6 people who have perished, and a grizzly bear that it looked like they attacked at some point. And her name is Dina, yeah. That they attacked at some point and were able to take out the grizzly bear, but they also perished at the same time. So what's interesting about them is that the infected were able to take on this grizzly bear, where you would imagine that even if you did have 4 or 5 or 6 infected, that they wouldn't be bright enough or smart enough to strategize to take on this grizzly bear and eventually take it out. So that's going to lead to what we discover later on in the show or in this episode. So yeah, they saw some blood on the trail and they ended up walking down the trail and finding this, this scene here. So Dina and Ellie are obviously, like I said, not a good pair together as far as making calm and rational decisions. And yeah, they decided to go investigate, and which is a bad idea. They, as patrol people, they are supposed to check out the scene. If there's anything going on, just report it back to their group. And then from there, the group would be able to send like an actual team of people to take out whatever group of infected are there. So they end up going into this building and they encounter a clicker, standard clicker, not too smart. And they take out the clicker and Ellie falls through the floor. Dina's still on the top level of the floor. And I'll fast forward a little bit through this. And basically, they encounter what I think the game called a stalker. So basically, it's like a level of infected that's of higher intelligence. And this one sort of like is able to hide in the shadows. It baited Ellie to continue to try to find where it was at, made her turn her back, and then it jumped on her. So Ellie was eventually able to take it out, but she got bit. And it was a new occurrence. So they got back here to their group for a debriefing, and basically Ellie explains that, they ran into a new type of infected, and because they have that new type of infected, that they are going to have to do something about it. So I think this is the first one that anybody has run into that seemed to show any sort of higher level of consciousness, and that definitely should make the group nervous. And for anybody who's played the game, we all know that stalkers are very difficult to deal with in the game. Dina co-signed her, of course. We had Ellie, who was healing up her wound and getting stitches, I guess, because people do not know that she is unable to be infected and that she's immune. So I guess she still wants to kind of keep that a secret. Joel and Ellie talking here, still not on very good terms. They go to a dance where Dina is the center of the party. Everybody's watching her. She's, going around living fancy free, enjoying herself. And eventually she and Ellie end up dancing in the middle of the dance floor and eventually kiss, which is, that's definitely part of the game too, that they had something going on. But because of that, you had another person who was at the event took offense to them sort of making out in the middle of the thing and saying that, hey, this is a family event, like you guys need to get it together. I don't know if he was mad because it was two women, or if he was just against them, making out like that. I kind of get it. But then after he was sort of looking that way, Joel runs up and knocks the dude out, just like pushes him down, knocks him to the ground. And Ellie is upset by this because she feels as though Joel is constantly trying to protect her. It's like the common sort of theme that you have in, father, daughter, and like parental guidance over their children, is that the children feel like they should be able to do what they want, that they don't need anyone's help, that they are fine without you know, the parent's protection, but you have the parent who is there and wants to protect the child. So I get where Joel's coming from, totally do. But I feel that Ellie has some trust issues with him now, and also she doesn't want to be coddled. So she wants to be her own woman, and I get that. You have to. There's a fine line between being protective of your child and then being overprotected. I mean, I think that Joel is a little bit overprotective, but if I was in his position, I would be the exact same way. There's no reason to, you would want to do your best to protect your child. So yeah, pretty much everybody saw that. They got to the new year, everybody's enjoying, and then you come up to this pipe that they had found. And I guess it was a water pipe. I don't know if it was an old one. I'm guessing it was just some sort of old water pipe, but there were sparks flying next to the pipe, and you could see that there was some of the fungus growing inside of that pipe. So that's just telling us that that fungus is growing closer and closer to their town. And then we close the episode with a group of people walking up on the town, and it turns out, if I can get the last little screen, turns out it's none other than one Miss Abby. And I can't isolate the screenshot, but oh well. But yeah, ends up being Abby. She shows up. Obviously, like I said, this is 5 years later. She has not given up on her quest to find Joel, and she's getting closer to finding him. So yeah, I cannot wait to see how this actually turns out. But yeah, that is a quick instant reaction recap, review, breakdown of episode 1 of season 2 of The Last of Us. If you enjoyed watching this, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Also, hit that notification bell so that you can be notified each and every time we go live in 2025. And we will be back next week for another live stream watch party starting at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll hang around for the actual episode. And then after the episode airs, we will do another breakdown. And when the episode's on, we'll have a live stream watch party and we'll talk and discuss the episode as it takes place. There are not very many people doing this on YouTube for this show, so I am one of the few. And if you have found this, man, you are in luck for some amazing content. So yeah, I really appreciate you for checking this out. My name is JD, like I said, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace. All right, so there you have it, folks. Yeah, pretty good episode, man. Pretty good episode. I really enjoyed that. I mean, it's a good welcome back episode. It wasn't like high crazy on the action or events, but it definitely laid the groundwork for a lot. There was just enough action to keep it going, and the show will continue to this just continues to show that this is one of the best shows on TV. It's well acted, it's well written. Everything that happens seems logical. Everything makes sense. You don't have people that are just, you know, deciding to act out of their mind for whatever reason. Although Ellie and Dina are a bad group or a bad crew and do not do and make some of the best decisions, but it is believable though. It is believable. But yeah, I really appreciate you for checking out this live stream watch party of The Last of Us season 2 episode 1. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. And if you are watching, we will be back next week, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for a recap of this episode and also a breakdown or a preview of the upcoming episode. Then, starting at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be doing a live stream watch party of the episode. So you can hang out with us and watch the episode and comment on the episode. And then once it's over, we'll do a quick recap and discuss everything that went down. So yeah, if you're jumping in right now, you missed out, but we will be back here again next week. There's tons of stuff on the Watch Stuff With Us channel. I guarantee you'll find something that you've already watched or that you are thinking about watching, and who better to watch it with than me and my beautiful wife, Katie. So I appreciate you for checking this out. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified each and every time we go live in 2025, which is multiple times a week. So yeah, I really appreciate you for hanging out with us, and I will see you. Well, I'm JD. and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.